Overreaction.
Hey, I don't think that's recorded. Welcome to the Sci-Fi Sci Podcast under the Believe Podcast Network. It is indeed a podcast about Black science fiction and fantasy and staying on the same page as a family. Today for episode 96, we'll be discussing the film Us, directed by Jordan Peele. I do want to say a special hey, hi, and hello to all y'all patrons out there. I see you. Y'all support us. You too can be a sexy ass patron for $1, $2, hell, even $5 a month. You can find the link to the Patreon in the episode notes if you're loving what the Watland family has to offer. Let's do a quick round of shout outs to a couple patrons that we love to see and hear from. Corinne Sears, Sharice Douglas, Lyric Boya, Wendy G. Kaplan Carroll, Tiffany, Nathan, Jordan, Mia, Mariah Burr, Mackenzie, Donna Johnson, Sarah, and Tammy Roach, to name a few. And next month we'll be giving away the text Twisted Tales by Brandon Massey. It's a collection of short stories. So check out the Sci-Fi Sci Instagram for all of that information. Ben has been loving this book. Every 5 seconds he's been turning to me and being like, this is so good. I cannot wait till we read this. So we're going to be reading it later on the show, but we will be giving it away as well. Anyway, Ben, that was a mouthful. How are you?
You and I have had a roller coaster of a day, if I do say so myself.
And then we can't record when we fight. So I kind of like the show because it forces us to make up.
We're not funny when we're sort of beefing with each other, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't, I know this is contrary to popular belief, we don't actually record content when we're genuinely upset with each other. I know a lot of people think we do, but we typically were like, oh, we're lighthearted, something funny just happened, like let's share with the world now. I mean, we can talk on the air about what our fights are and stuff, but they don't last long.
Yeah, we have to like step away and then come back to it a little bit. But
we were having.
It was organizational stuff, just cleaning and I tend to take my time with chores. Like I'll do a chore, I'll sit down, read a short story, I'll come back to it, or I'll do a chore.
Wait,
I'll write.
What was that
I'll
last
write
step?
a little bit, and
the
then I'll
last
come
step
back
was
to
you
it.
come back to
I
it.
come back to it.
Oh.
But oftentimes you don't let me come back to it. So it appears as if I didn't come back to it. But I would have came given the opportunity.
I walk me through the process of like just doing tasks inch by inch. Like a task that if you actually applied yourself would take 15 minutes.
Mentally, it's very difficult. You know, it's sort of like running a marathon for you. Or no, it's more like running a mile for you.
A mile for me.
You can't run a full mile. You have to stop every half mile, walk a little bit. That's how I am with chores. No, you can run a full mile.
I will, but I give up at least trying my best. You know what I'm saying? Like the time that I need breaks are not the break on the mile is not longer than it would take me to run the actual mile. So that is where your analogy falls apart, because it'll be something like laundry. Yeah. And you'll take a break longer than the 2 loads would have taken to wash and dry.
Sure.
And now here's
but it's mental.
Major. This is major. Do you know what you can do, Ben? You can put the clothes in the washer and then read. Oh shit. Have you ever thought about that major unlock?
I did.
So whenever
I think I did put the clothes in the washer.
Whenever you're like, I can just do half of this chore. It's like, put the clothes in the washer and then go work on a task. How did you halfway wash the clothes? Because you are who you are. And now we're fighting again. I'm just kidding. But yeah, the chore that I wanted, the big chore that I wanted Ben to finish today still is not finished. It is currently 8:08. We'll probably finish recording around 9. And so I have to sometimes just deal with the fact that it just might not get done. And I'm sure you're thinking, Amber, just do it yourself if you want to. Ben won't let me. He'll be like, no, I said I would step up and do this thing, so I'm going to do it. But then he lets it drag on. So he just thinks the world revolves around him because he's a man.
I just enjoy when you put some faith and trust in me. You know, like when Jesus told his disciples to step out on the water and to walk towards them. Talking about fantasy.
I want to trust
That's like
you,
me. I'm
but
Jesus, and you're a disciple.
you would think to yourself,
come out on the boat.
Here's the thing, because we're talking about this now. You would think you would say to yourself, okay, Amber's faith that I'm going to do this thing is a little shaky. So let me really show her. Let me show her by like doing it early. Let me show her by doing it at the time she suggested. You wait to the last minute. That's when the faith is shaken.
But that wouldn't be me.
I know, but you can't say like, Amber, I wish you had more faith in me when you do the exact thing that I predicted you do.
But eventually I get to it. So the chore you're talking about is washing the diapers. Is that
the cloth diapers?
Okay,
yeah,
sure.
you said you would own those this week because I've been busting my ass with those. And in general,
and what a fine ass you've been busting.
And don't try to butter me up to get out of the chore. And then in general, the cloth diaper journey was your idea, which I agreed to go along with. And I told Ben, I was like, hey, I kind of need a little bit of support on this. Like I've been washing these diapers like, every 4 to 5 days. I
needed support.
I need you to step up and help me with this task.
I'm stepping.
And now we're about to run
steps.
out of diapers because I asked Ben to take it off my plate.
I actually timed it perfectly so that by the diapers will be done tomorrow morning. And
I asked you to have them done by tonight. So we should probably just start talking about the show.
Did I agree to that?
We watched.
Hold up. Let's talk about.
You told me they would be done by tonight. You promised me they'd be done by tonight. And now you're live on the air. You're saying, I got it tomorrow morning.
We're not live, but speaking of live shows.
Ben's favorite, I say this all the time, Ben's favorite day of the week is tomorrow.
It is my favorite day.
Okay, Ben, when are you going to get to this tomorrow?
I'm in the hot seat. It's getting a little bit hot for my ass, which is not as
never
fine
hot
as your
enough,
ass.
though. Funny enough, never hot enough. You're never pressured enough to be like, you know what? She's stressed. I should just do it right now.
So you talking about cloth diapers, though. You hung out with your sorors.
What does that have to do with cloth diapers?
Because you told me off record, so no film involved. So I don't know if you're going to admit to this, but you told me that I was right about something about the cloth diapers.
Oh.
Can I have you on record?
Sure. You were right about leaks. Because I thought that was kind of sort of unique to our situation, but I've been talking to Team Disposable, and they're like, no, we had leaks overnight as well.
Yeah. So I was right, and I told you that because I had worked in a nursery. I said, hey, everybody leaks. I leak.
Yeah, you do.
Talking about your
you still haven't restored my faith in the fact that you're going to get this done. But I have to just be okay with the fact.
Oh, ye of little faith.
This was yes, very little. But here's the thing about it: you wait to the last minute to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
You can't be shocked when I'm upset. Like every time,
Amber, I am never shocked when you're upset. I am never
but you do this thing
ever
where you're
shocked.
Like, but you're overreacting. But it's not even that big of a deal. You kind of try to discredit how I feel. I'm kind of like, this is just deja vu. Like, you don't get to just discredit how I'm feeling about this thing that I told you. If you do X, it'll lead to Y.
Yes,
you've done X, it leads to Y. And you're like, why are you so big? Why can't it be a little Y? And I'm just like, you knew the chain of steps that would lead to my level of anger with this thing, and you still took that path. So you should say to yourself, you know what?
I was busy reading that I forgot.
Right, but this is the thing. If you're going to wait to the last minute, you need to make this deal with me. If you're going to wait to the last minute to do something and you know that stresses me out and you know like waiting to the 11th hour until we've actually physically ran out of the diapers is going to stress me out, you cannot be mad when I'm mad. You cannot try to say that I'm overreacting when you know what makes me overreact.
I do not use the term overreact, and if I do
you'll be like, you're making things, it's not that's your favorite phrase, it's not a big deal, you're overreacting, it's not that
I don't
serious,
say
Amber.
overreacting. I don't like that term overreacting.
You
I think
say
it's,
that
it's minimizing.
or things are kind to that.
I think I probably say things a kind to that flirt with that, but I don't use that phrase. It's not a
no, you fuck that phrase. You and that phrase are boning
consensually, maybe
consensually,
not maybe consensual. Anyway,
ooh.
What maybe I do have consensual sex with the phrase
you're
overreacting, but maybe I need
nice.
to stop doing that and only come to you with more consistency.
Just do the thing. We're doing all this Olympics with it, and it's just like you could walk into the the laundry room, do the thing, and then I won't be mad. It could all be so simple, but you rather make it hard. But that's you. But I was hanging out with my sorority sisters this week, and I had the most incredible time. I've probably said this on the show before, but I'm a member of Alpha Sorority Incorporated, and I haven't seen my sorority sisters in like all together in the same room, a good chunk of them, like probably like the better part of like 5 or 6 years. So it was just so fun. Like, you know how it is when you just like hang out with people, with a group of people you haven't seen in years. I mean, maybe people feel that way about their like class reunions. You go to those?
Do I go to class reunions?
Would you go?
Yeah, every time I go home
if your college
with my homeschooled family.
Not a college one. If
I haven't gone.
I guess
my college
that's
closed
so funny.
down.
I guess like every time you hang out with your family, that's also a class reunion.
It's class reunion.
That
My college
is pretty
actually
pathetic.
closed down my undergrad college, that campus. So
Yeah, but they could still meet at like a local restaurant
Yeah.
or something.
yeah, no, I maybe would do that eventually. But a bunch of your sisters have babies. There's babies.
I know. I'm in the number this time.
4 of them. I think there was one more that baby.
Yeah, but she couldn't come. But it's so funny because we were just doing some old steps and dances and things like that. And one of our sorority sisters, who back in the day was always kind of doing too much, was literally breastfeeding while trying to do the dance. We were like, just sit down. Like,
Just
we get it.
down.
We get that you want to still be a part of it. But you are now like holding a baby who's latched onto you and trying to like hit these pretty intense moves. Like, we got it. You just take a seat, friend.
It was really fun because I dropped you off and I went and worked at a coffee shop. But when I came back, I got to see one of your sorority sisters, Shay, and related to Shaw.
Yeah.
Shaw.
You could say
And
Shaw.
she stayed with us in Chicago a couple of years back.
She did.
And we ended up watching the film Arrival, which is
Predestination.
we watched 2 films. So let me finish.
No, we didn't.
We watched 2 science fiction films.
All right,
The
I'm gonna
first
let you
one
finish, but
no.
Beyonce had the best video of all time.
We watched Arrival together, which is
Okay.
based off of the Ted Chiang story, The Story of Your Life. And then afterwards, we watched the film Predestination, based off the short story All You Zombies by Heinlein. And we were having such an intense conversation about predestination that she ended up missing her flight and staying another night with us and just like
incredible.
hanging out. So that was really cool to see her again. And yeah, all your stepper sisters, not step sisters.
Stepper sisters.
I don't know the right language.
Just
Sorors.
You can,
Yeah.
I
But-
call them sorors, but you can, sorority sisters, line
Am I
sisters.
not allowed to say
You can.
your
It's just weird.
sorors? But they're okay. Your
Yeah,
sorority.
yeah.
Okay, I see. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why it's weird. It's just one of those things. It's
Because the shortening it to soror from my mouth sounds. There's something about that sounds
yeah, I don't know.
inappropriate.
Inappropriate. But yes, we had a grand old time. So
But they love me and I love them.
Of course
so
they
it's
do.
great.
Of course they love you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
They know you make me moderately happy.
And a little bit more flexible too. I think
I'm
I
sorry?
probably chilled you out. I mold you out like hot spiced wine.
I don't think anybody would describe me as chill. I think people see me and they're like, that
Chiller.
girl has no chill. Yeah.
Podcast review.
A podcast review. Would you like me to read it, darling?
Go for it.
Oh my God, we love this review so much. And this is just a quick reminder. I know that we argue a lot on this show, but we already solved that argument. This is a quick reminder that if you do not have any funds, but you love this show and you want to show us that you support us, you can go to Apple Podcast and fill out a rating of the Sci-Fi Side Podcast completely free. It's free for you. And it's very, very helpful to us. We're almost at about like 550 ratings right now, which our goal is 1,000. So keep those ratings coming in. This one is from Ida B. Wells 86. Ida B. Wells 86 writes, We're BFFs in my head. I'm sorry it has taken so long to write a review. I've been following you guys since the pandemic began. I just didn't want to come off as a fanatic, but F it. I'm a huge fan. I started following Hot Mess Yoga during the pandemic while practicing from home. And Chicago has only like 5 black yoga teachers. So true. I know all 5 of them as well. It is so easy to connect to Amber being another black RYT. That's a registered yoga teacher, for those of you who don't know. When I discovered the content with Ben, I was hooked. I am also partnered with a nerdy yet lovable white guy, and we are expecting our first child in a few weeks. Oh, congratulations. Definitely a Jordan Peele tethered vibe, but we think you guys are funnier and more interesting versions of us. How perfect. Even though we haven't been on our black sci-fi stories lately, up to our necks in parenting and birthing books right now, I love the podcast because it makes sci-fi less niche, I always say that word wrong, niche, and more relatable. And obviously Wild is the perfect addition to your duo. She's a natural performer like her mom. So happy to see you guys succeeding, and just know your boring tethered versions will continue to root for you as you grow on Beyonce's internet. That's from Ida and Marty. The first of all, Ida and Marty, I can tell y'all are not the boring tethered versions of us because of how exciting this entire review was. We sincerely appreciate all of the good energy that is seeping through this review, and y'all just keep please sending these our way. Ida, we're probably gonna run into each other at some point. I mean, those black yoga circles run pretty small and tight, and if you're remotely interested in science fiction and go to like a convention or something, we will run into each other. So I promise, I'm sure we will meet each other out there in the ether. Except I was just thinking about Chicago for a second. Would you like to share some news? It could be an exclusive for
Listen to when you listen to the Sci-Fi Sci podcast, you learn things before everybody else.
You do.
We are moving out of Chicago.
Out of Chicago, yeah.
Like so many people do.
Where you want to tell them where we're moving, Ben?
Yes, we're moving to LA.
We're moving to the city of angels. That is Los Angeles.
Los Angeles.
We're very excited. It took a little bit of thought, but we'd always known that was the trajectory of our career path. What used to be my career path, but now which I'm actually thrilled to be sharing my dreams, hopes, and desires now with you.
Yeah. But it's going to be sad because I'm going to say goodbye to lots of things like my science fiction book club that I really love and my gaming club, which they don't even know yet. So I haven't told them. Yeah,
we are taking a trip to LA later this month. And if
August.
If we find later yes, and
2022 for those who are listening 10 years from
now, right? Now. Yeah, because people do binge like the earlier episodes. Like people will actually come up to me and be like, on episode 26 I disagree, blah blah blah, and I'm just like, oh girl, it's episode 96, so I don't even know what I said. I was probably wrong. But yeah, if you're listening to this, we're gonna be visiting LA mid-August, and yeah, we're gonna be moving soon. If we see something we love, we're just gonna try to get in there by September. And yes, that does mean we will be driving across the country with the two of us, a newborn and a dog.
Can't wait.
We're gonna that's going to be like 5 days, right?
All the little, sideshows and stuff. I can't wait.
So we are definitely going to be arguing. So
yeah, of course.
When that happens, baby, I'll just pull out that camera, do what I do, tell that story.
The camera has almost become a buffer in some ways.
It has.
In which we can sort of argue and act our argument in a real sense.
Yeah.
Someone's going to write like an academic paper on that.
Yeah, well, because it's like, now in our lives, when something goes really wrong, we're like, we'll just record it. Let's just record what just happened, and then we can laugh about it.
Yeah.
Except for when you hit the car.
I asked you not
were
to
like,
record
please,
that.
God. And I didn't. We can't record everything, but
we should have. Looking back, that was very funny, but I was so.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's good. Like, there are definitely like real boundaries of like, this is not a moment to be recording, that both of us have drawn those lines and we respect those lines. But when something funny happens, like me throwing a taco at your head or something, playfully, no domestic violence here. We got to get that on film, baby.
Agreed.
Anyway, so we watched Us. directed by Jordan Peele. As we said last week, if you were here with us last week, we're going to be just basically watching everything that Jordan Peele has created. So we started with Nope because that just came out. We watched Us, and then next week we'll be watching Get Out. But why don't you talk to us a little bit about why don't you talk to us about what the plot of Us is for those who haven't seen it in a long time.
Also, there was a nice little reference to Us in the review you just read.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes.
I think that was clear. Yes.
Yes.
Which was great. Great timing, and Marty.
Yeah, so Us is about a black family that goes on a vacation, and they discover that their mirror selves, basically their clones, all live underground but have now come above ground to kill them and to take over their lives.
Yeah.
That is
of living in the darkness.
That's about it. And it's fantastic and it's gory and lots of things. But speaking about mirror universes, we've talked about mirror universes or doppelgangers. Yeah. This is less of a mirror universe or alternate universe. This is more of a doppelganger story. But in Gothic literature, there's this whole idea of the double. You see this time and time again, or the mirror self. And that theme is often used because when you look at a mirror, it shows you for who you are, which is a disgusting, despicable, violent creature. Or a beautiful, wonderful creature. But the mirror idea sort of shows us what's hidden underneath, And I always like to think, like, what is really underneath my skin? Like, my truest self, like, thrown in the most absurd position. Like, what do you do? Type of thing. I think about that.
I think about, now that we have the baby, that's what everybody tells you. Like, a kid is basically a little mirror that kind of is going to show you the worst parts of yourself because they're going to pick up, like, they learn how to communicate and interact from you. And I was talking to someone the other day that was like, my child is so mean. Like, my child is a meanie and a bully. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, girl. Oh, God. Who should get that from, sis? But that's okay because I think she was having that moment of reflection, but she was asking me about motherhood, and she's just like, yeah, it's fun till they're about 2 or 3, and then they start acting like you, and now my child is just a bully. And I was like, time to look at the man in the mirror, right?
I'm trying to think, what are the worst traits that Wild could get from me, my child could get from me? Probably.
Oh, you need some help?
Probably what we talked about in the beginning. My procrastination.
Losing track of time. Disorganization. Procrastinating on her chores. Procrastinating on her homework. Because guess what? She's already got an A in the class. She's smarter than everybody in there. So she feels like she doesn't have to do the work.
See, that's interesting. I don't procrastinate on homework and doing like work things that I love.
Yeah, but you know that when you were being homeschooled, you probably
I got that work done. Nope, I got that work done in the morning.
But you weren't required to wake up on time, start your day at a specific, it wasn't regimented. So yeah, maybe you did it on time, but it was just you and your mom. I bet she set some hard deadlines.
Perhaps, yes and no. But I was pretty motivated because when you're homeschooled, you wake up early. And I woke up very early, and I would.
How early did you wake up?
I think I woke up pretty consistently around 7. And because at times when I got my work done, I was free. So by 11 o'clock, I was outside with my mother's butter knives, pretending to be like a Ninja Turtle, or I was reading things that I wanted to do, or I had this chess encyclopedia. Yeah, which is literally, I think, unhealthy and probably why kids bully each other because
of the school day is so long.
They're basically in a closed system. They're in a prison system. The school system in many ways in our country is a prison system. The way we cram.
The teacher.
Well, not anymore. I handed in my resignation.
You did.
And I really tried to resist that, but it is really frustrating to be in a system that is designed to be so restrictive.
Yeah.
And then in many ways you end up propagating that system. We were talking about this where you can meet a good person who's a cop, but you can never meet a good cop.
Right.
And I think that because systematically it's so oppressive. Yeah. And so sometimes I wonder,
teachers just don't have the support they need. I'm a former teacher, you're a former teacher as of like last week. Like
some schools, many schools, I would say.
But almost every teacher I interact with, like, and if you are a teacher out there that had the support during the pandemic, I would actually genuinely love to have a conversation with you, not to convince you that you didn't have the support, but just to hear like, what did that support look like? But almost every educator that I spoke to and asked like, how'd the pandemic go? They were all like, fuck this. Like this
school year, this full school year for Chicagoans were
just
was
rough,
very difficult,
just horrible. Wait, let's run it back. So because I like to be equal. I'm not a complete and total bitch.
Yeah. What are the worst parts that?
Yeah. What potential mirrored traits could Wild get that are mine that would be
negative? Like the evil ones. I mean, impatience.
Okay.
Yeah. You can be impatient.
Yeah,
or
I agree with you.
Something I noticed where something won't bother you until it does, and then you go from 0 to 100. It's like you didn't notice that the space was unclean or dirty or not finished, or the project wasn't finished for a while because maybe you were psychologically blinding yourself to it, or I shouldn't say blinding, but ignoring it. But then once you notice, you shoot up in like anxiety. You're like, this needs to be done right now.
Okay.
Like, we spent the last week having this here. Why does it need to be done right now?
Let me ask you this. In that last week, are you implying that I said nothing about it?
I'm not.
Or did I say something every day about it and now a bitch is pissed off?
Perhaps.
So did I go from 0 to 100, or did I go from 0 to 25, the next day 25 to 50, the next day 50 to 75?
Feels like 0 to 100, I should say, at
Interesting.
times.
So even the argument that we got into, and I'm not negating that I have some flaws. Like I'm surprised you went pretty light on me there.
Yeah.
Do you think in the last week, did I only bring up the cloth diapers today when I hit the roof?
No.
How many days would you say I've been bringing them up?
Daily, but they will happen.
So how can you accuse me of going from 0 to 100 when I've been bringing it up daily?
I wasn't referring to the cloth diapers.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes I notice other things. Yes.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Just my impatience and 0 to 100?
Yeah, your impatience is. I think everything else, is not terrible. I think your impatience
not terrible.
Your impatience.
I'm your wife. Not terrible.
Yeah, I mean your impatience is your greatest flaw.
I will.
Yeah.
I can't. I can only agree. All right. Can I now tell you, because we're never nice to each other per the internet, can I tell you some things of yours, some traits of yours that I really hope Wild gets?
Sure.
Okay. Your love for books and knowledge is something I'm like I know we're going to instill that in her, but it invigorates you to write papers for that this is about to sound mean, but I don't mean it this way. So you will write papers that no one will potentially read. And I'm not saying that to be mean.
It's called a journal.
Right. No, it's not journaling. No, you will do academic research on topics
and write about
with
them
with the potential that no one will read them.
But I bring them up in conversation.
But you bring them up. So that is fascinating to me, because I've never done an assignment like that, a research-based assignment, unless I knew there was a payout. That's the public school in me.
Writing to learn is sort of the phrase that people will use.
Yes. The minute you learn to write, you probably wrote to learn. And that's not most people. So I really hope Wild develops that love of learning and love of this is something else you do. You take care of yourself first in a good way. I mean, obviously we argued about how you've been taking care of your need to read books before getting to the chores, but you need that. And you have taught me how to take care of yourself because you take care of yourself so well. So I really hope she learns to I
receive that.
You receive that?
I
really hope she learns to say Mom and Dad, I know y'all want me to do blah, 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 or I know I need to get to this, but I need to read for 15 minutes before I do that. I need to, breathe on my yoga mat before I do that. And I hope she learns to articulate that as well as you do.
Oh, I don't know if I articulate it very well, but I'm starting to learn to do it with you, because instead of just stopping and doing a task today, for example, I was in the middle of doing a task and I said, I need to stop doing this task. I need to lie down and I need to do something else, because I can feel myself getting overwhelmed. You're like, okay, yeah. Yeah, you
used to just do the lie down.
I used to just doing the lie down.
I would be like, wait, when last I left you, you were moving boxes and now you back here snoring? Like, come on. But now just even the heads up to me of like, this is what I need right now. Can you respect that? Oh. I can totally respect that. Now go ahead. Tell me what you wish about WoW for me.
Oh, like the positive. She's going to get your singing voice, your energy. It's so fun because your mom tells stories about when you were a kid, and your parents are very sociable. They're social lights of Athens, Black Athens.
My dad's pretty awkward, but
he is, but he's sociable nonetheless.
Yeah, he's socially awkward, but still very social.
You sort of have a rotating door at your childhood home, and so your mom was share stories about how all the adults would be downstairs, and you would round up the children and go upstairs and do a performance, and everyone would have to stay 15-20 minutes longer because you would have them perform something like a rendition of The Lion King or something like that. So
yes, like the Black Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, you're a director. You are a filmmaker.
Yeah, but I wasn't paying my actors. There are so many.
Were not.
Like looking
they
back,
weren't part of
so
a
many
union.
Issues. They were not a part of the union.
Abuse.
So many issues, but yeah, those are the mirrored things that I really hope WoW gets from you.
Yeah. Cheers. I am a little bit impulsive at times, and that's sort of a mixed bag.
You think you're impulsive?
At times, I'll be like, let's just do this thing. Let's drop everything. Let's go on a hike.
You are not impulsive.
You don't think so? Oh, wow.
No. Okay. You'll be doing backflips in your head. Maybe if on like the daily things, but sometimes I'll be like, Ben, just make a decision. Well, what do you want to eat? Ben, I don't care. I need you to like do this. Oh, I mean, I need you to decide where we're going to go. I need you to decide blah, blah, blah. And you're like,
things I don't care about, I can be indecisive, but I'm impulsive when I'm like, I want to go here. I want to go here. And I just leave and go do it. Let's, I'll wake up without planning, but all right, let's pack up the car and go for a hike somewhere.
Yeah, you're good with that. But like when it comes to like, I think when I think about impulse, I think about like impulse spending or something like that. That's not
I
true
see
at
what
all.
you're saying. No.
You'll research every freaking car on the lot.
Impulsive adventures, I like.
Yeah, you do like that.
And it sort of watching this film and seeing the underground where the characters like go underground.
Great description of that.
Well, where the tethered are living underground.
Correct. Yeah.
They call them the tethered for those who have not seen the movie. It's been out since 2019. You should definitely see it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But they go underground, and it made me think of the exploration I did when I was in high school and in college. Like there were a place I went to called Freedom's Tunnel, which is underneath Manhattan, just miles of railway that is now owned by the Amtrak station. That was really fun. And the place called the Witches Tunnels in Nyack, which I really want to take to.
People don't live down there or anything.
There are some people who some homeless people, the mole people. But when Amtrak bought it in, I think the 80s, they went through and cleared out. There was, maybe 100 people living in there. 13 people were shot and killed because they're like, this is our home. And the city cleared them up. Super tragic. There's a book called The Mole People about that. But I this whole idea of tunnels being like the scary place where things are hidden. And I was thinking about ever hear like the albino alligators in New York City? At those, and then I found this Victorian England legend called the Black Swine of Hempstead, where there were these cannibalistic hogs that lived in the sewers.
When did you do this research?
When I was just looking up recently for this podcast, and then also you have of course, Pennywise lives in the sewers. I was like, why are the sewers so terrifying? I'm like, oh yeah, because that's where we have our shit and our nastiness. And have you ever been to a sewer?
No.
Why not? It's like an adventure.
Why have I not been in a
underground,
sewer?
like an abandoned tunnel. You've never been to an abandoned tunnel?
No, I don't even like old homes or anything.
Really?
Yes, I don't like abandoned anything.
You've never been to like an abandoned... I went to an abandoned insane asylum. You never...
Yeah, no, that's too creepy for me.
Oh, man. It's awesome.
No,
Like we found a straitjacket that and like a hospital bed with like binds on the side. In this,
yeah, that's not my idea of a vacation.
Oh, that sounds like it's an adventure, and that's what I mean by impulsive. I love that stuff, like creepy.
I can see
like
that.
The history.
Yeah.
That's just the horror that's enmeshed in there. But
yeah, I mean, I don't even like to go to like my grandparents' house. Which is funny. I'm currently staying in my grandma's house, but I definitely don't. No, I don't do stuff like that. I go like
you
they did in the movie
with me. I'm going to take you to the witch tunnels in Nyack.
We'll see, Ben.
You don't have to break any laws to get into that one.
We'll see about that, Ben. But anyway, I would go like they did in the movie. The movie opens with a little girl at like a little state fair, or what would you call it? A carnival or something like that. I'll go to those. And I'll go, I'll get on the rides and stuff. But no, that is not my idea of a fun time. It's funny. We were watching this back last night. And if you really pay attention, the movie Us is really the story of a deadbeat dad. Not a deadbeat dad, but just a dad who wasn't watching his child, because the whole reason that this child walks off and then gets traded in a fun house with her Tethered is because the father was playing whack-a-mole and wasn't paying attention. So that was a major unlock for me when we were watching it last night. Don't you agree, Ben?
Yeah.
And the movie was, can we talk a little bit about the movie real quick?
Sure.
Because that's what the show is supposed to be about, but it becomes us talking shit about each other. A couple of things. Obviously, we watched it the very first time, but a couple of gems that stood out to me during the rewatching is like the little girl had this candy apple in her hand, which is really cool because obviously candy apples are like stuck in and then turned upside down. So like Jordan Peele loves those Easter eggs of symbolism as he is creating, the masterful films that he does. So that was one thing that stood out to me. One thing that it was like meh for me, because obviously it was brilliant. And it was well casted, but there was for me, not to jump right into criticism, but for me,
size,
not to jump right into the size, but we are at like close to 40 minutes. There was a lack of chemistry between the actors Lupita and Winston Duke. And I'm going to say it. I know I sound like an asshole. Winston Duke's like American dad accent feels very whitewashed. I know he's originally from Trinidad and Tobago. Like I immediately remember clocking it. His name is Gabe in the movie. So let's talk specifically about Gabe. But as he was talking and saying things, I was like, something feels very whitewashed about this family, from the little boy like cussing in front of the family. That's just like, and I know you can say like, Amber, you're a black Southern Baptist, blah, 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 blah. But like,
there are different black
children
families.
Just don't say like bullshit in front of their families. Like that is just not something that happens.
Unless they have fully perhaps like maybe integrated or assimilated into white culture. Like I got the sense that this family is a representation of like, they're from the suburbs. They have a summer home. Their friends are white, are like wealthy.
You can have all that and still not be white.
Right. And they're not white. They're still black.
I mean, sorry. Oh, that sounds really bad. You can have all that and still not be whitewashed. Like you can be like, but, come on, y'all. We got to be fake with this little white family. Like,
I think Jordan Peele made that decision, right, to create a family, a very different kind of black family that we are not used to seeing.
Why do you think he made that decision?
I think to probably accentuate the the mirroring that was going on, perhaps. I think also, there's the big twist at the end. We find out that the little girl that goes into this mirror maze at the beginning of the film end up like beaten and dragged into the downstairs, essentially, and then the tethered takes her, like, replaces her. And
yeah,
so
they switch. Yeah,
they switch. That's
the
like
tethered
the big
switch with the regular.
the big twist there,
which was great.
Which is great, and
it makes it so you don't know if you're. I love playing with the audience's mind, and you're like, wait, I don't know if I should be rooting for Lupita or not. The main Lupita, Addie, we'll call her. So which is like Addie versus Adelaide.
Which for me becomes a symbol of like the example of assimilation, like a tethered pretending to assimilate into the untethered.
Right, but she still, once she switched, was being raised by black parents. So even if you were still, like, let's say you're a person who immigrated into the U.S. and were only hanging in black communities, so you're learning how to be American from black people, like, there will be an element of blackness to you that Lupita and Winston Duke were missing for me, and the kids, by
because he
and it's
says,
not
kiss
because
my anus, like,
yeah, kiss my anus. I was just like, that's odd. The dialogue there is odd, and it's not the affluence. It's not the fact that they have a beach home. Like, I know plenty of like middle class black people with beach homes.
I don't think it's their beach home. I think it's their grandmother's home that they've kept.
Well,
Yeah, but now that I think about that.
Yeah, Alicia and I, my sister's name is Alicia. Me, Ben, and Alicia were watching it last night. We were all just like, something is off. And I remember feeling like that the first time I watched it, but something just felt off about the family and the family's dialogue. And I know Jordan Peele wrote it, but that did not happen in Get Out or Nope.
I think he was telling a different story. I think this is about the uncanny. It's about the mirror self. It's about immigration and assimilation.
But when you're looking for a work created by a black director, you're kind of like, I don't know. There were just once or twice where I was like, did you write the dialogue for this? Did you come up with the concept and then get some help? Like, I don't know. Maybe that sounds like an asshole thing to say, but if you go back as a black person and watch or I should say,
go back as a black person.
Yes.
Even if
for
you're
those
white?
of you who are not black, go back black and rewatch this film again. Something felt, it did not feel black American. This family did not feel black American.
But that seems, you assume that black American is a homogenous.
I know
group.
It's not homogenous, but I know it when I see it. Because even when they were talking, I was like, Ben, I don't feel like Winston Duke is.
Is it possible that there's a black American identity that you would not recognize?
I think there is a black American immigrant identity that I would not recognize. But I think if you are a descendant of a black American slave, I'm going to recognize it. Even if you are a Republican, even if we do not have, because we're not a monolith, but there is something that I'll uniquely pick up in like a speech pattern, even if it's regional differences, just something comes up for me. And I remember thinking that when I was watching last night, I was like, this dialogue just doesn't feel authentic. And I don't know, because Daniel Kaluuya is British. And I didn't clock it with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you watch anything, if you watch what is it fucking called? I'm about to say Hustle and Slim. No, what was that? Queen and Slim, or Get Out, or even Black Panther. I do not clock that he is British, but something with Winston Duke and Lupita just screamed un-American to me, which sucks because they are American. I mean, like, if you immigrate to,
but
Black American,
it seems that this has to be intentional, because the scene where the family first interacts, the Tethered family interacts with the people who live above. Okay. And Lupita's like character very creepily says, "We are American."
Yes.
Like that phrase itself is like, oh, there's
Even,
something going on
it's
here.
funny because even Winston Duke's Tethered felt more Black American to me. You remember? And he didn't have any speech. He just had screams. I was like, yeah, that's a black scream. I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping.
Let's talk about Scream for a moment, because in
it.
many ways this is a scare slasher type of film, and in a lot of slasher films, there's lots of cool kills. And sort of the second time I watched this, I was trying to sort of watch it within a slasher mentality. Between the first viewing, I watched this 2019 in theaters till now. I think maybe I watched it one other time in between. I read a lot of slasher films. I watched a lot of slasher films, and I read a lot of slasher horror novels, maybe 5 or 6. And
we get it. Your resume's long.
It's fantastic. Not the only thing that's long.
Well, what else is long?
My love for you.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna move forward, but you know. I'm such an asshole for what I said. Like, I'm really not trying to sound like a nationalist or anything.
We moved.
Like that. We moved? Okay.
Yeah, we moved.
I just want to reiterate, like, call me out. I'm fucked up.
No, it's fine. Again, I think this is a conversation that I don't know how much I can say. Like, what does it say about me that, like, the black characters seem more convincingly...
They felt fine to me. I'm like...
They felt convincingly American, but they didn't to you.
They didn't.
And one of us is black. The other one of us is not black.
Who? Yeah, right.
So
I think people are confused listening to this conversation about who is who.
All right. So slasher films, there were some great kills in here.
Yeah.
And in slashers, we talk about like cool kills and stuff. So, you know, for example, I was thinking about some of the greatest kills I really enjoyed. So there's a film called Wrong Turn 2, and it starts with like a woman getting her lips bitten off and then like, you know, chopped up pretty intensely. But yeah, so like
one or two of Lupita's kills felt black.
Yeah. Or like hitting someone with a frying pan.
Yeah, that felt very black.
You know, I think the golf club, like slamming Umbre, but
that didn't feel black.
What's Umbre's untethered person? What's her name?
What was her name? I don't know.
God.
We're trash for that. The Umbre is the daughter's tethered. Zora,
the runner. And but yeah, so Zora is with you kill someone with a golf club. But I think the greatest part of this film is that there is a long, great tradition in slasher films, specifically slasher films, where the black characters die first.
Right.
And in this film, they did not do that. You know,
and
that was very intentionally so. We're like, I see what you did, Jordan Peele.
Not only that, the black characters had to deal with their tethers and the white family's tethers, because the white family didn't deal with their tethers. Obviously, the white family didn't know that they were being attacked, but I was like, look at us. We got to do everything. We got to clean the fuck up. Everybody the fuck up.
There was something about the scissors that were so creepy. Yeah. They were like double-edged, too. I think the tethered, because we find out later that because of this switch, when you're, you know, the tethered are sort of like zombies. They mindlessly mimic you. And so when there was a switch with young Addie, who's really not, and now the Addie who we thought was Addie this whole time is really not Addie, but Addie's tethered. But because of the switch, little Addie, who's now in underground, trains them and like gives them suits and, you know, literally organizes them, right, for a rebellion. And I think these scissors, I think they actually sharpened them to be like double bladed, because there's a scene where she slices. I'm sorry, I'm like doing this, but slices with the end, like not with the sharp part.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I didn't notice that the first time around.
Yeah. I mean, even that, the outfits and all of that had so much organization, but we had a couple moments where we were a little bit confused about, like, how is it that the Doppelgangers can mimic some moves and not others? Like, because one of the ways that, and I think the most confusing, and listeners, please sound off, but who was it? Scotty, right? The little boy's name? No. Jason?
Jason
was his name in there, yes.
Yeah, Jason. But Jason, he
Did you just glitch a little bit?
I glitched because of the people drive really loud in the South. It's like ever hear of a fucking
shut
muffler?
up. You live in Chicago.
Yeah, so it sort of surprises me that people are just as obnoxious in the South as they are in Chicago. Anyway, but Jason at one point learns to control his tethered and gets his tether to walk back into a burning fire.
Right.
And I thought that was cool, but also confusing because how do you, like, when can
you control it? When can you not?
It seems a little bit arbitrary.
Yeah.
And it sort of just works for plot reasons. Like, for example, I didn't notice this the first time, but when Gabe pushes in his glasses out when he first meets his tethered, the tethered like sort of jerks his head back to indicate that he felt that. So I was like, what? Like how?
Yeah, like the mimicking works sometimes and doesn't others. That was definitely confusing. Also, like, I kind of still miss the connection with the big scripture Jeremiah 11:11 that kept.
Okay.
Give me that.
So.
Give me that. Slide your glasses on your nose and give me that.
So this film, and people have written about this, but it's really about Americans' brutality towards indigenous people and Native Americans, and then hiding that history.
Of course.
And putting it underground, right? Absolutely. And you get that with lots of indications. One indication is that the mirror maze that little Addie goes into in the beginning is sort of this racist kind of, Native American trope of, chiefs and, Native American this or, Indians or whatever. So that's the first indication. The next indication is that when adult Addie's at the beach with the fantastic Scientologist, my favorite Scientologist,
Elizabeth Moss.
Moss.
Oh, Elizabeth Moss is gonna moss.
Yeah.
Okay.
Elizabeth Moss shows her an image, and it's like, oh, isn't that beautiful? And it's a white woman in traditional like feathered garb, like chieftain garb from some tribe. Yeah, and I didn't notice that the first time. And the next thing, so you have those two images, and then this idea of literally putting on red suits, a reference to red skin, the derogatory, racism.
I didn't catch
so
that.
why their suits are red. And so them coming back is sort of like judgment for what America has done towards in Jeremiah 11.
So we should be team tethered. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. It's like, and joining hands. And also at this time, you have to consider the context of 2019. You had the oil pipeline that was being built. And so they create this line in the film Us holding hands. And that image is something that, indigenous people have had to do in front of like bulldozers and stuff. Of course, yeah. So I think that is going on. And it becomes this almost art house, somewhat pretentious in some ways. I think
but
all that
especially
subtlety.
If you don't have any, American Indians or Native Americans casted in any roles or anything.
Ooh.
So that's when it's like, this was a tribute and an ode to a group of people. And it's like, okay, were those people incorporated in no.
Yeah, because we've erased them. Yeah. Right. And I think that's, again, I think there's intentionality here, which Us is by far my favorite film for that reason. That's
interesting because, mine is still Get Out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I appreciate that tribute, but it would be strange for me if a movie was made in tribute to black people and there were no black people in it. Like,
Yeah, I see. It's not. I don't think it's a tribute. It's not a tribute or an
nod
honor.
Even.
It's a.
What is it?
It's an analysis. It's a reflection. Okay. It's a consideration. And then when you do, because what happens, and if you're writing about like indigenous apartheid, indigenous genocide, let's be real, American genocide is a real thing, both cultural and physical genocide. And it becomes almost pornographic if you sort of show those things. So the symbol, you use a symbol instead of the actual thing, and it sort of eases the very difficult, traumatic experience, but it still becomes about that. But the
Yeah,
fact
but
that
the
I had to
symbol get
explain
lost,
it to you,
yeah,
and
like-
it seems like a lot of people probably watch this and that they didn't pick up on it. But I think
Yeah.
they would pick up on this idea that the tethered are like zombies going around, and they were abandoned by humans.
Right.
They say that the tethered were created by humans as like experimentation, as a way to control the people up above type of thing. So it's like the U.S. government created the tethered and then abandoned them and like left them raw rabbits to eat, which is, have you ever ate rabbit before?
No.
It's
I had
delicious
a rabbit's
cooked.
foot, like a lucky foot.
Oh, really?
I don't think I've eaten rabbit, no.
Where did you get a lucky foot?
You know, just like they have, like it might not have been a real foot. You know, a rabbit's foot is like lucky.
Oh.
Did you know that? I got one at the, okay, let me
But
say
aren't you
this.
like a Baptist Christian? Like that sounds
Yes.
bad for
Baptist
Baptists.
Christians always go out and hunt game and
But I think like using
stuff it
that
and
for
save it.
luck, right? Isn't that
right.
like you're not trusting in God, you're trusting in
I know.
foot in
I
a
ain't going
rabbit's
to
foot.
heaven with that rabbit's foot. But I know exactly. I remember vividly where I got my rabbit's foot when I had it as a kid. I got it at the Uncle Remus Museum. Remember in the past we talked when we read Ring Shout about like Uncle Remus who was like the caricature and telling those old Southern tales of like Bruh Rabbit, Bruh Fox, and all that. And so they had rabbit's foots at the museum in Eatonton. So I got one there. Not sure how long I had it.
I would never be able to wear a rabbit's foot. That would my
It's just
upbringing.
like a keychain.
But I
show
think
it to
the
you.
idea of having that kind of luck, I understand that, but I'm sort of surprised that you would have it.
Yeah, it looks like that. It almost looks like a big feather.
I'm going to look up where lucky rabbits feet
Why would
come
it
from.
surprise you that? But Southern people are also very superstitious.
Yeah.
You know, so like even the existent like the church principles and superstition can both exist.
Do you think people get like tarot card readings from your church, or is that seen as like too new age? Because this
that might be a
seems
little
right
bit
up
too new age.
the very similar to tarot cards.
That might be too new. I mean, we're also talking about like the church I'm attending while I'm here.
Yeah.
Or because
The church you
we're in
grew
Georgia
up.
right now. If that wasn't clear, that might be a little bit too new age. But they will definitely believe in like, I don't know, like not stepping on a crack to break your mama's back. Like some of the more fun, like not opening an umbrella inside, stuff like that. That's bad luck.
But it's done more for camp, like making a comment like that is to be
Yeah,
funny.
but you
It's
still
not
don't
really
do it.
believed.
Like you still don't
It's
split
so-
the pole.
so
You're
funny.
right. You're like
It's so funny.
it's kind of like Candyman. It's like say his name 3 times,
But
or 5
don't.
times, but just in case, don't do it. Right.
I remember one
Right.
time I split the pole with you. You got really mad at me. I'm like, are you okay? You were like actually annoyed.
I was like,
you
why
were
did
actually,
you do that? Well, because I
you were
probably
annoyed.
asked you not to, and because it made me uncomfortable, and you still did it.
It
That's
makes
probably
you
why I was
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Not now. We've split them several times now, but sometimes I'll.
And you remember
I
every
will-
time we
yes,
split them.
Of course I do. I will tell you not to do something, and you'll do it to fuck with me. Like that's what makes me mad.
I don't think I've done. It's so not part of me not to do. Like I step on every cracks. Any
I
kind
know,
of
but if
crack.
sometimes I'll intentionally say like, "Can you please not do this thing?" And you'll just be like, "Why?"
I don't
This thing.
remember the pull part, but
That's
I
okay.
think even if you asked me politely, I would.
Still do it.
I would
You'd be
probably
like,
still
what
do-
this? Like you know how you could be like immature,
sort of-
but it is stupid. Anyway,
It's funny. It's like I'm immature for
camp.
logically unhooking your hand to get around a pole if a sidewalk is crowded, but you're not immature for believing that.
right?
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome. Anyway,
We're so different.
Us-
What do
we're
we
just
what do
so-
we
we're
even
just
have?
so-
What do we even have in common?
we wrote down what we had in common this week or talked about it.
We did.
We both have master's degrees. We both have a kid.
We both have just one.
We both have just one child. But anyway, yeah. Us was super enjoyable to rewatch. Like, I can sit here and nitpick, but like the fucking soundtrack is dope.
Yeah.
Even though
I
the
didn't
Black
get up-
family was snapping off beat. I was just like, what is happening?
Because not all black families have rhythm.
Yeah, but if there's gonna be one in a movie, one black family, like can she just have a little rhythm? And she's like a dancer, so it's kind of like,
oh yeah,
even past the Blackness, this doesn't make any sense, right? Like most dancers know timing and common time.
Might have been an editing issue in the editing room.
Something was up. I was like, come on, Jordan. Like, where's
I think, again, I think it comes down to that term, the uncanny, like him developing, like, I'm just uncomfortable. This whole thing makes me uncomfortable.
It's just like when the family was on the property of the dad, like the dad was going out there to confront them and was like saying like, okay, if we want to get crazy, we can get crazy. Like that felt Black-ish. But then after that, I was like, what is happening? Like, even a Black family would say something really funny here. Like, it was missing some of those, like, just fun, colloquial things. We should say, like, shit, like something needed to be said there. Like,
but again, I think,
like, get your ass out there and protect the family. It's like, I ain't doing that shit. Like, something would have been said there that would have been very, like, ha-ha.
Again, I think,
Black ha-ha.
I think Jordan Peele is a very smart man. And I think he did this intentionally to fuck.
Well, what was the intention?
To show like a different kind of Black family.
When has a Black family been highlighted in a horror? Like this was not the time to show a different Black family. We have not. This is the first of its kind. Like this was the time to double down on their Blackness. If you ask me,
on a very particular kind of Blackness that you are more familiar with.
But they still did the other things that like they tiptoed on it. Like obviously Winston Duke was wearing like a Howard University t-shirt or something. I was like, but this juxtaposed to how he's like, if you went to a HBCU, some of these things don't align.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they reference I don't
Greek
know.
life or something.
Yeah,
or,
Greek life
or you had a paddle in the house or something instead of a golf club. Like some things were just not matching up.
like if she were to do her kills with like a Greek
fucking Afro pick. I'm not saying I had to go like that far, but yeah, just something in the house that like I don't know. Black people play golf. Like I'm not trying to say it like that, but
too far into camp potentially, maybe.
You can do Blackness without it being camp, Benjamin.
Yes, I know.
Because Get Out was very Black.
Yeah, I know. This sounds
we'll talk about it next week.
This is a great conversation. Much more to be had. I have lots to edit.
Yes, as we continue in the Jordan Peele verse. Ben, with that being said, why don't you warp up the show?
In conclusion, Us is my favorite Jordan Peele movie.
Should they watch it? Should they not? I mean, this is a show after all. Well, if that's all you got to say. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Sci-Fi Sci Podcast. Up next for episode 97, you already know what time it is, baby. We're going to be watching Get Out, my favorite Jordan Peele movie, the one that feels very Black. And I cannot wait to do the big laughs. Why did you do the white man, like, furrow of the top lip or whatever? You know that white man look. Yeah, like...
Actually, I was thinking recently that there's, like, the white nod.
Yeah.
And the white people nod like this. They, like, sort of roll their neck like a seal, almost. Like, it's like, oops. So you walk by somebody and, like, to give them, like, a greeting, you're like...
They also do, the full stand in front of you. Mm-hmm. Or the full, like... jolting out of an aisle at Target and then just standing in the way. You're like, could you move, Heather? And you see it now more, obviously, that you're with me.
You got really mad at it. We saw one of Kirk Franklin's, the Kirk Franklin, his composer and sort of musical lead. We went to his concert, and he knew who we were, so that was cool.
That's so funny.
But there were like these white people.
These white boys.
You were stood
right in front of me.
The way you described them.
And it was a mostly seated concert. Pro. I was like, beat it, Bass Pro Shops. Get out of here, Patagonia. Which, is all just coded language for white boys. You saw them stand right in front of me. You were like, damn, I used to be that guy. I kind of probably still am that guy when Amber's not around.
They, in their defense.
I do not exist to them.
They did not move.
So what's the defense?
That they're still white.
Oh, get your people, Ben. Get your people. All right, let's get out of here. I heard Wiggles crying.
Okay. Bye y'all.
Jinx, you owe me a check in those white boys next time.
Stop.
So I don't care. Jinx, you owe me a check in them white folks. Next time we're in person. You just put this on the Patreon.
That was. I had a lot of fun.